If there's one thing that I know you guys really love, it is a satisfying declutter. And oh, do I have a treat for you today. Today we're gonna be decluttering my foundations and my concealers, and I plan on going in. I plan on pretty much getting rid of like 90% of my collection. Hold me to it. I'm still on a mission to significantly downsize my makeup collection. And so my goal today is to get rid of all the foundations and all the concealers that simply just don't fit my needs anymore. Like most of the other makeup products in my collection, I keep a lot of things that I might not necessarily love for my YouTube videos, for my content, because sometimes I do need to pull out a product to compare it to something else or to show you guys something. But I have just gone to the point where I don't feel like I need to keep the products just for that one odd video. And I would just so much rather my makeup collection just be filled with products that I absolutely love and kind of nothing else. So this is my concealer and foundation drawer. This is the official before. I have a feeling that by the end of today's video, it's going to look very different. I hope you guys are gonna enjoy this declutter. Definitely hit the thumbs up button if you wanna see more, and let me know what other declutters you would like to see from me. All right, enough chit-chatting. Let's get right into it. The very first thing that I'm going to do to keep this really nice and efficient is I'm gonna get rid of first the products that are expired and then the products that I know are not even close to matching me. Because even if I like the product, if they are expired or they do not match my skin tone, I can't use them. So right off the bat, Ilia True Skin Serum Foundation. This is a nice hydrating foundation. It is not my favorite, but it's actually one that I used to really love back in the day. I have not reached for it in a really long time. This is also very old. It's absolutely 100% expired, so we are not going to keep her. Another Ilia foundation. This is the Super Serum. It has SPF 40 in it. It's a very hydrating, very lightweight skin tint-like product. I have two issues with this. I really love the way this looks on the skin, but honestly, my biggest issue with this product is that it smells like Play-Doh. The scent is so strong and so intense. It's kind of what holds me back from wearing it as much as I would actually like to, because I do really love the way that it looks. And I also like the fact that it has that SPF 40. Even on top of that, this particular shade is number ST3, and it is far too light for my skin tone. I unfortunately am going to get rid of this, but I do like the product. I just wish they would fix the scent because it's horrific. This, I don't even want to know how old it is. Look at all the separation. I mean, a little bit of separation isn't that big of a deal because sometimes that just happens when the product is lying flat, but yeah, this is like another level of separation, and I know it's a really old one. It's the Rare Beauty Foundation. It is a really nice, more soft matte product. I should mention, if you are not familiar with me or my channel, I have very, very dry skin, and I prefer foundations that are more hydrating and just are more dry skin friendly. This can be dry skin friendly, but is not always. Another expired product, the Bobbi Brown Skin Longwear Weightless Foundation. This was like such an old school favorite of mine. I used to wear this to death. It was like one of my favorite medium to full coverage foundations. It is quite hydrating, very flattering, like has a really nice natural finish, but I know that this is expired, and there's also, you know, there's weird stuff going on in here. Another expired product in here, the Milk Makeup Sunshine Skin Tint. This was another like old school favorite of mine. This was launched like before skin tints were really a big thing. So when this launched, I feel like it was a little bit more exciting because there wasn't that many products out there that gave that skin tint like finish. Now it's super trendy, so there's so many options out there and many other skin tints that I prefer over this now. Yeah, it's so like dried out and gunky and expired and kind of gross. I don't really love like the roller ball applicator here. Like look at how yucky it looks. MAC Studio Fix Everywhere All Over Face Pen Foundation. This made my dry patches look insane. It's supposed to be pretty lightweight and buildable, but I found it to be very heavy looking on the skin despite like the super light serumy texture. I really was not a fan of this. The Merit Foundation Stick. I wanted to love this so badly. This is a cream foundation stick. So many people love this, but it just does not work very well for me. It's a little bit too thick for my liking, and I just find it's a very like visible foundation on my skin. It really doesn't sink in or melt in as much as I would have liked, especially for a cream. So I'm not gonna keep this one. The Kosas BB Burst Tinted Gel Cream. I wanted to love this so badly, like so badly, because this just really feels like it would be so up my alley. It's a gel cream formula, so very, very, very lightweight. It almost has like a watery texture to it. It feels really, really nice. It also has a really nice glow to it. it. And even as I'm describing it, I'm like, oh, this sounds like the perfect like skin tint-esque product. But for some reason, every time I would put this on my face, I just never liked the way that it looked. Also found it was maybe a little bit too glowy. As much as I want to love this, I just don't. And I never reach for it. So I'm going to get rid of her. We've got two Maybelline foundations here, the Superstay 24-Hour Skin Tint and the Dream Radiant Liquid. Problem that I have with the Dream Radiant Liquid is really the shade. This is the shade 35 Nude Beige, and it's a little bit too pink for my skin tone. And because it's more of like a medium full coverage, you really do see the shade difference, and it just does not match me very well. I'm gonna get rid of this one for that reason. The Superstay, because this is such a long wearing product, I do find that it really sticks and locks down on the skin, but that could become a little bit drying. I don't find it super ideal for my skin type for that reason, so I'm gonna get rid of it. This is the Bare Minerals Complexion Rescue Tinted Hydrating Gel Cream. This I actually need to get rid of because it's just been in my collection for years and years and years. I don't really love to keep foundations for too long. So this actually is an expired product, but I feel like this is a really underrated tinted moisturizer. I used to be obsessed with this. It was like my favorite tinted moisturizer. I really haven't worn it very much in a while just because it's a little bit older in my collection, and there's like some newer, more exciting products that I definitely gravitate towards more, but it's like an oldie but a goodie. I would have kept this if it wasn't expired. We got two Makeup Forever HD Skin foundations here. We have the regular one and the HD Skin Hydro Glow. Both really beautiful. I love the HD Skin formula. It is like a really buildable formula. You can get anything from a light to a full coverage, just depending on how you apply it and how you layer it. The HD Skin formula is supposed to be like an undetectable, but still very well coveraged type of formula. So kind of gives you best of both worlds. They both really do that. Works great for dry skin, oily skin, normal skin. I don't necessarily feel like I need both. I'm going to keep the Hydro Glow because it is a little bit more hydrating, and this color is a little bit better for me than this one. This shade is 2N22 and this one is 1N06. Okay, the Makeup by Mario Surreal Skin Foundation. I'm very conflicted with this because I really love how this looks on my skin. It is super hydrating, super perfecting. It gives you like a medium to full coverage, but there is so much shimmer in here. You can visibly see it in the foundation. I wish so badly that that wasn't the case, because if this shimmer wasn't in here, this would have been like a top 5 favorite foundation for me, but that shimmer is what holds me back from wearing this more often than not. So I don't even want to get rid of it because I do really like this, but unfortunately the shimmer is just not it for me, and that kills me. So she's out. Here it is. Here's another one of the Ilia Super Serum Skin Tints. This is a shade that matches me a lot better. It's ST9 Paloma. I just want to smell this really quickly to see if it still is good. Oh, oh my God. Because Ilia products are more on like the natural side, I find they do go bad way quicker than a lot of other products. And you can tell when they go bad when they start smelling a little bit rancid. And I said that this does have like a little bit of that Play-Doh scent. And when I just smelled that, you smelled the Play-Doh, but it was like times 5,000. So I do not think this is still good anymore, which is really unfortunate because I didn't get this actually that long ago. I think this is only about 8 months old, or maybe a year old. So I'm gonna have to get rid of this one. Wow, so far I've kept one foundation in here, guys. That's crazy. Clinique Even Better Clinical, I'm keeping this. I love this foundation so much. If you have dry skin, but you want something that is more on the matte side and full coverage, but that still will work with your drier skin, this is it. Gives you that really perfected, flawless airbrush look without making your skin look heavy or cakey. I feel like it's a more hydrating version of the Fenty Beauty foundation. And while I'm kind of on the topic, I'm not gonna keep the Fenty Beauty one. This is another like soft matte full coverage foundation, and I find when I am able to make this work, it looks really great and lasts beautifully. I'm really trying to be as picky as possible here, and I don't feel like keeping things that are too similar to one another. If there's one that I like more than the other, I'm gonna keep the one that I like more. And in this case, I feel like these formulas are similar enough, and this one just works so much better for my skin. It's so much more hydrating, so much more flattering. So gonna keep the Clinique. I'm gonna get rid of the Fenty. KVD Good Apple Foundation. This is a product that I feel like I need to be using more. This is a gorgeous foundation. It's cream base. I don't really have anything else quite like this. I don't think I have really many other cream, like potted cream foundations in my collection. So I do really want to keep this. It's medium to full. It's also very, very hydrating. It's super, super creamy. It just sits very nicely on the skin. I like this a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. The shade is Light 012. I feel like I just need to pull this out of my collection a little bit more. Glossier Perfecting Skin Tints. These are nice, very, 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 very sheer skin tints. Skin tints have been having their moment over the last year, so there are so many out there that I like and so many more that I like more than the Glossier. I never reach for these because they're just not, I don't know, they just don't really hold up compared to a lot of the other skin tints that I have. They're nice if you want like the sheerest amount of coverage possible, but I almost feel like these guys are like too sheer. Like at a certain point, I'm like, okay, is it even worth it for me to put this on my face because it's so sheer? You know what I mean? So I think for that reason, I'm not gonna keep these. Wow, I am being vicious right now. This is crazy. Oh, this one's really nice. Cali Ray Free Dreaming Skin Wellness Diffusing Tint. This is a gorgeous skin tint that is still very lightweight and sheer, but it also has like this diffusing factor to it. Actually, now that I think about it, very similar to the Fenty Eavesdrop. They both almost have this like soft, matte, but still hydrating, but still lightweight skin tint like finish. I don't know if that made any sense because I feel like those were all contradicting words, but that's kind of what makes these guys unique because normally skin tints are super, super, super hydrating and glowy, whereas these guys are more like soft matte, but still hydrating. They're really interesting. I actually am going to keep both of these. I know I just said I wasn't going to keep products that are too similar to each other, but I feel like I'm going to make an exception for these. This is especially great in the summertime if you want that skin tint like finish, but you really want it to last all day and to not get too glowy or for it to be like too hydrating. You know, sometimes you want things to last a little bit longer in the heat, but you still want that lightweight finish. This is a product that I feel like I don't use enough. The Beauty Blender Bounce Skin Tint. I don't know why they call this a skin tint because it's absolutely not. This is like medium to full coverage. The only skin tint part of this maybe is the texture. It is more of a serum-y texture, but this is absolutely not a light coverage product. It has some really solid coverage to it. You can build this up to be completely full, but it's such a gorgeous serum-y texture. Even with that coverage, you are getting the lightest finish. We got the Dior Forever Skin Glow, the NARS Radiant Booster, and the Armani Luminous Silk. Luminous Silk from Armani is definitely a product that I'm going to be keeping. This is like one of my go-to event foundations. It's one of those foundations that no matter how long I've had it, it's one that I really go back to and that I know will always work for me and that I can really rely on. I know that this is a product that would last me 12 hours. It's going to look flattering, it's not going to move, and it's just a great go-to gorgeous foundation. It's a classic for a reason, so I'm definitely keeping that. The Radiant Booster from NARS, this isn't really a foundation, it's more of like a glow booster. So it's kind of like a glowy foundation, similar to something like the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter, but much more natural looking. It doesn't have that like metallic sheen. It really has just a very natural glow. This is a really beautiful product. It's nice to use on its own. It's nice to use layered with other foundations. I am also going to keep the Dior Forever Skin Glow. This is another foundation that kind of reminds me a bit of the Luminous Silk. It has a little bit of a nice radiant finish to it, but it's not over the top glowy, and it just works so nicely with my dry skin. So I'm definitely going to keep it. The Say Slip Tint Tinted Moisturizer. I love this. This is a great tinted moisturizer. I'm just worried if this is expired. Let me just smell this really quick. Yeah, that smells horrible. Okay. The scent definitely told me everything I need to know. And that's that for everything in this bin. Let me put the ones that I'm keeping back. For now, let's get into the second and final foundation bin. All right, moving in now to the second bin. Oh no, something happened here. Something exploded. Oh no, gross. Oh no. Oh shit. Okay, I'll have to clean that up a little bit better once everything is out of here. There are a couple foundations here that I actually have doubles of. As you can see, I got another Clinique Even Better, another one of my Say Slip Tints. Let me just smell this one to see if it smells any better. Oh my God, this one smells good. Okay, fantastic. So I'm gonna keep that one. So these are actually the two shades of the Clinique Even Better. So Cream Whip is actually a lot peachier. I should have swatched that to begin with. I believe Stone is my better shade. Stone like pretty much blends into my skin tone perfectly. This is a little bit too light. So I'm actually gonna get rid of Cream Whip and I'm gonna keep Stone. This CoverGirl foundation, I absolutely hated. I wanted to love this so badly because it was supposed to be a dupe for the Chanel Le Beige Water Tint Foundation, which is one of my favorites, but it was not at all. This just broke up terribly on my dry skin. It's one of those foundations that has those like pigment balls that burst when you start to rub it in, and it has like a very serum-y texture. A lot of people really like this. It just really didn't work for me at all. So I'm definitely not going to keep it. It looks like I have multiple Fenty Ease drops. So let's do the same thing and swatch all of the shades and see which one matches me best. So I have 4, 5, and 6. This is 4. It's a little bit peachy. 5, I think that's going to be my best match. And then 6. 6 actually matches me a little bit better. 5 is a little bit more yellow, and 6 it looks a little bit more neutral. So I'm gonna go with 6. This is a MAC Face and Body Foundation, and it's in the original formula. They no longer have this formula anymore. This doesn't have any weird smell. I do not believe it's expired, and I'm keeping it, even though the new Face and Body formula is totally fine and works really nicely. I just wanna keep the original. This is the OG skin tint. It's a very, very, very light coverage product, but it is buildable and always gives a really fresh look to the skin. And this shade is a little bit warmer than my actual skin tone, but I find that because it is so sheer, it doesn't look off, and it actually just gives like a nice amount of warmth to my skin and almost makes me look a little bit tan. Truly don't remember any of my thoughts on this Ambient Soft Glow Foundation from Hourglass. I don't even know if I've tried this. Oh my God, this looks like it's never been used. Okay, interesting. Feels nice. Wow, okay. Definitely need to try that. The Say Glowy Super Skin Foundation, I do really like this. It's kind of like one step above a typical skin tint. It gives you like the perfect amount of coverage, and it's very hydrating. It has a nice amount of soft glow to it. So I'm gonna keep this. This is shade number 8. The Chanel Vitalumiere Radiant Moisture Rich Fluid Foundation. I bought this specifically for a video. I used it in that one video. Actually really, really loved it. And I don't think I've touched it since, which is just ridiculous, especially because I know how much I really enjoyed this product. And this is what I'm trying to avoid here. You know, I don't want to have so many foundations that I forget about the ones that I actually really love and want to use. I'm going to keep this. I want to use this more often. This is the new MAC Face and Body. It's the new formula, the Studio Radiance. Still really, really love it. And I'm definitely going to be keeping this. All right, a couple drugstore foundations here. The e.l.f. Camo CC Cream. Just not really for me, a little bit too matte. The Age Perfect Radiant Serum Foundation is a really, really, really nice tinted moisturizer. And then the Revlon Skin Caring Foundation, it doesn't look like this was used. I'm gonna take the opportunity to donate this one. The e.l.f. one I'm gonna get rid of. I just don't love the texture of this. It's a little bit of like a thicker cream, and I find sometimes it could be a little bit tricky with my skin type. And the Age Perfect, I do really, really, really like this, but this color just is not good for me. It's way too orangey yellow. The Yummy Skin Serum Foundation from Danessa Myricks, I feel like is a bit of an underrated product. I don't hear that many people talk about this, and this is a really, really gorgeous product. I don't use it nearly enough. It is such like a gorgeous, creamy, balmy texture. It has a lot of hydration and a lot of glow to it. I don't know if you could see that reflection there, but it feels like very nourishing on the skin. It's a beautiful foundation. I'm definitely keeping this one. The LYS Triple Fix Serum Foundation. This is a really great one. This was a big, big, big favorite of mine back in the day. I really love this. It was like my favorite medium to full coverage foundation. I would really love to revisit this and see what my updated thoughts are on this, because I just loved it so much. I feel like I need to do a video of some of my old favorites that I haven't used in a long time. Laura Mercier Real Flawless Weightless Perfecting Foundation. I feel that this is kind of similar to the Fenty foundation. This is another soft matte foundation that will give you that nice perfected finish, but that's not going to overly dry out your skin. For a matte foundation, this is beautiful, works great for dry skin. Forever Skin Glow from Dior, I have 2. And I do not need both. So we have shade 2N and 1.5N. One is definitely newer than the other because the packaging is slightly different. I'm not sure which one is newer. It's 1.5N. And then 2N. 2N is definitely too peachy. 1.5N could work. Okay, this bin is an absolute disaster, so I'm gonna get rid of it. And then combine all of the foundations in one bin here. And these are now all of my foundations. There are definitely some foundations that are missing in here. If you're wondering like, oh, where's this one and that one? It's because I do have a smaller collection at my house in my vanity where a lot of my everyday foundations live. So probably some of my most used foundations are there, but this is really the rest of my collection. So these are all the foundations that I'm keeping. And these are all the foundations that I am going to be getting rid of. All right, guys, let's move into all of my concealers. All of my concealers also I'll live in here. I have decluttered this already like a couple times. So I feel like things are already quite narrowed down because my concealer collection, believe it or not, used to be even bigger than this, but we are going to narrow it down even more today. I'm just gonna dig right into it. Tarte Shape Tape. I mean, I think it's time I get rid of this. I kind of keep this more for the nostalgia than anything else. Was the most popular concealer of like 2016. Everybody and their mother was obsessed with this thing. Very full coverage, very creamy. I just never really reach for it anymore, so we are going to get rid of it. There are a couple concealers in here that I have multiple shades of. One of those concealers being the NARS Soft Matte. I did get sent all of these shades in PR. And normally when I get sent complexion products that are in various shades, I will keep the one that matches me and then I'll give the rest away. But I love this concealer formula so much, I just kept them all. All of the shades here could potentially match me at like any stage of my skin tone. Like no matter how tan or how fair I get, I'll be able to use my NARS Soft Matte. I'm not gonna get rid of all of them, but let me just keep the ones that I know I'll actually be using. We have Light One Chantilly, and you can see that I've actually dug into this quite a bit. I do use this shade. It's one of their lighter shades, but I do really like it and use it a lot when I am more on like the fairer side. I'm a little bit too tan to use it right now, but like dead of winter, this is actually great for me. It's still very brightening, but it's good. By the way, I didn't even mention why I even like this concealer so much. So it's a potted cream concealer and it is more like the soft matte side. So it's not super glowy or hydrating, but it's soft matte while still being very skin-like and not overly drying. Whenever I want my concealer to last a really long time, to give like a really nice airbrush finish, I love using this product. I love using it underneath my eyes. I love using it around my face. And it always just makes my skin look really nice and almost airbrushed. Light 2.4 Cafe au Lait. This is, again, a little bit too yellowy for me. Light 2.6 is Cafe con Leche. This is another shade that's a little bit too yellowy for me. I guess a lot of these shades just don't work for me. Like 2.75 Cannelle. So this almost like matches my skin tone and it's a little bit on like the peachier side. So I would almost use this as like a color correcting concealer where it has that like peachiness to counteract the greens and blues underneath my eyes, but it's not overly peach like something like this. So I'm gonna keep this one. Then we have Custard, medium one. I am gonna keep this one as well. I sometimes dig into it. Light 2.3 Madeline. I'm gonna keep this one. This one is a little bit more neutral. This is probably like my perfect concealer shade in this line. And then medium 2 Ginger. Oh wow, I've actually used this quite a bit. I'm surprised because Ginger is definitely on like the deeper side for a concealer shade for me. I feel like I probably use this on a friend or something. Kept 4 though, which is still excessive, but I'm allowing it to happen. Some concealers that I do not like. This Makeup by Mario concealer is horrible. I hated this so much. It was so dry, so cakey. The Fenty concealer, it's interesting because sometimes I absolutely hate it and sometimes I actually really, really like it, but it's a little bit too finicky for me to want to keep it. As I say quite often, there's a lot of concealers or a lot of products that do it all, you know? So if there's one that's just a little bit finicky and I'm debating whether or not to keep it, I'd rather just use the product that I know works really great for me. So I'm not gonna keep the Fenty. Oh, I love these Hourglass concealers so much. This gives such a gorgeous, flawless look to the under eye. It's like perfectly hydrating, and it has really great medium to full coverage. I have 2 shades here, Cedar and Silk, and I'm actually going to keep both of these. I have quite a few of these NARS Radiant Creamy Concealers. Listen, this is a really great classic concealer. It's medium to full coverage. It's not too dewy, not too matte, kind of lands right in the middle. Do I reach for this anymore? Not really. Do I still want to keep one? Kind of, yeah. Do I need 4? Absolutely not. Will I keep 1? Yes. I have over here light 2.8, 2.5, 2.2, and then this is like a little mini one, and it's 2.4. I'm going to keep this one over here, which is 2.5 Creme Brulee. This has a little bit pinkiness to it, which I actually really love in a concealer. It brightens up very nicely. I just love the shades of the NARS concealers. I feel like they do concealer shades so well. They have so many variations in tone, so you're really able to find like your perfect undertone, and this is it for me. These guys are a little bit too yellow for my liking. I have spoken about this Dior Forever Skin Correct concealer for the longest time as one of my all-time favorites. It is just absolutely gorgeous. It almost has like a moussey consistency. It's a completely full coverage. And because the consistency is so lightweight, but creamy, if that makes any sense. And so it sits in a way underneath the eyes where it just almost sits above all fine lines. Makes the under eyes look so smooth. I've got some color correctors here. I got two from Huda Beauty. These are the faux filter correctors. And then I have this guy from NARS. I'm going to get rid of the Huda Beauty faux filter correctors. We have the shade Pink, Pomelo, and Peach. I'm just not the biggest like color corrector person. If I'm going to use a color corrector, I kind of prefer it to be a little bit more on the subtle side. These are very pigmented and some people want that for their color correction, but for me I don't really feel like it's totally necessary. The NARS one I actually really love. This is the shade Light. Once you blend it out, it blends very nicely into the skin. It color corrects enough where it actually does something, but it doesn't leave such a strong color cast where you need so much concealer on top of it to make it look normal again. So I do really like this, and I like to have something like this in my collection. This is the Rare Beauty Under Eye Brightener in the shade Light Medium. I spoke a lot about this when this first launched and how much I don't like it. You know, it's not a terrible product. It has this like metal applicator, which is supposed to kind of give you this nice cooling effect underneath the eyes. But I just would have much preferred having a normal applicator. Because it's a metal applicator, it doesn't really have an even amount of product on here, and you have to dip in multiple times for every application in order to get enough product on your face. The product itself is actually nice. It brightens up the under eyes very nicely. It's very sheer. Again, it's not like a perfect product for me, and I don't really want to keep it for that reason. I don't know why, but I have 3 of these Clé de Peau concealers. I feel like back in the day, people really were like quite obsessed with this product. It is a very thick cream concealer, and it lays on very thick, and I don't find it leaves a lot of room for flattery. Even on my hand, like you can see how much it settles in all the little fine lines, so I'm not going to keep any of these. These Josie Maran Vibrancy concealers, these were like some of my favorites back in the day. I used to be obsessed with them. They're super hydrating and beautiful. They're just 100% expired. Like I think I've had these for years, so time for them to go. I don't even know if they're still available, if they still make them. I really love the Clinique Even Better All Over Concealer. Kind of similar to why I like the foundation. It's still hydrated enough where it is very flattering on the skin, but it gives you that nice matte finish if you're looking for that. And sometimes I am looking for that in my concealer. So I really do like this, and I'm going to keep it. This is the shade Stone. Very much an underrated concealer, the Lancome Teint Idole Ultra Wear All Over Concealer. I find this actually kind of similar to the Dior one. It gives a very similar effect. I feel like I should use it more. Now, while I don't love the Rare Beauty foundation, I really do like the concealer a lot, and I'm going to keep it very much in the same vein as the Clinique concealer. I feel like these are very comparable to one another. Huda Beauty Faux Filter Concealer. I was very obsessed with this for a moment. Like I literally did not stop using it. Another soft matte concealer that gives you that flawless finish while still being nice and hydrating and not drying. I definitely do not need all 3 of these shades. 2 of these are the same. We have 2 Vanilla Swirls, so I'm going to get rid of 1. I believe Vanilla Swirl is my shade, and Sugar Biscuit is a little bit too deep, so I'm going to get rid of that one. Love these concealers. This is the Physicians Formula Butter Glow Concealer. I feel like this is one of the best concealers at the drugstore. If I had to compare it to like a higher end concealer, I almost feel like it's kind of similar to the Hourglass one because it has that very like hydrating finish, a little bit of a glow, and it's a medium coverage. I don't need both of these. We've got light to medium, then medium to tan. I'm going to keep light to medium and not medium to tan. It's a little bit too deep for me. The Ilia concealers. Both of these are almost completely empty. Oh my God, but they do not smell good. I'll tell you that. So these unfortunately have to go. I wish they didn't though. Bare Minerals one as well, and the Say one. The Say one is so expired, and I've actually tried to use it multiple times over the last couple of months, and every time I use it, I'm like, oh my God, this smells horrible. I need to throw it out, and yet I don't because I'm just, for some reason, in denial that it's not expired, but it is. I need to get rid of it. It is a really great hydrating concealer though, but unfortunately, I just can't keep it. Kosas Revealer. This is a great hydrating concealer. I use this a lot for day-to-day use. This Dior concealer I wanted so badly to love, and I used it quite a bit, but it's definitely not my favorite. If I had to compare these 2 Dior concealers, without a question, the Forever Skin Correct wins. This one I found sometimes looked a little bit drying and a little bit cakey on me. It just wasn't always perfect. This is the High Glam Concealer from Natasha Denona. I've tried this a couple times. didn't really work super great for me, so I'm not gonna keep it. Not keeping the Fenty color corrector, just not the biggest fan of this. This is the Glowish Bright Light Concealer. I really, really, really love this product, but this is not my shade. This is light medium, which is a little bit too deep for me. I believe I finished the one that is my shade, and then I had this one that is not my shade just lingering in my collection. Last but not least, we have the Glossier Stretch Concealer in medium. I am actually going to keep this. Despite me not loving the Glossier skin tint, I do really like the concealer for when I want something ultra hydrating. I like to use this not even really just for my under eyes, but more so to spot conceal around my face when I want something just very hydrating. This is a great option. Those are all the concealers that I'm keeping. This is actually kind of crazy. I'm giving myself a pat on the back. Keep in mind, again, there are some concealers here that I use like day to day that are not here and that are in my everyday vanity, but this is the general collection and wow, very much condensed. And then here we have all the concealers that I'm getting rid of. All right, I would say that was all very successful. Now let me show you what the updated drawer looks like. This are all the products that I have decluttered. I mean, I feel like I did a pretty good job. I hope that you guys enjoyed seeing my whole declutter process for my foundations and concealers. Again, let me know all of your thoughts in the comments. If there's another product category that you want to see me declutter, let me know down there. And I did just recently declutter all my blushes. So in case you did not see that and want to see more declutters, I will link that down below. Hit thumbs up button if you did enjoy today's video and subscribe if you want to see more from me. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.